Welcome back. This is part two of our screencast over cells. Today we're going to start off talking about the Golgi apparatus, sometimes known as Golgi bodies. The Golgi apparatus is the FedEx of the cell, or the post office, UPS, whatever you want to call it, but its job is to, it receives materials, it sorts them, repackages them, and it ships them off to where they need to go. They're especially abundant in cells that specialize in secreting proteins like insulin or maybe hemoglobin or something like that. Their job, you'll see where they're located. They're close to the endoplasmic reticulum, the rough ER in particular, and so it's going to receive materials from there, probably proteins, and they will come in on the cis face, or the receiving end of the Golgi apparatus. Get modified, get a membrane put around it, then it will get shipped usually to the plasma membrane or somewhere else in the cell, and that will leave the trans face of that Golgi apparatus. So again, it's the FedEx of the cell. It's a good analogy to think of with the Golgi apparatus. Next structure we're going to focus on is the lysosome. Lysosomes, don't confuse those with ribosomes, but lysosomes contain enzymes. So they contain hydrolytic enzymes, and their main job is going to be to break things down. So they will be found, a good example of those will be found in a white blood cell. So here if you look, so the macrophage here is going to have those lysosomes inside them. They will then engulf a virus or a bacteria, and that bacteria or virus gets inside of its cell body there, and it will just fuse with those lysosomes, and they'll break it down to just the raw materials and just release them outside the cell so that they're no longer any danger to any other cells in the body. Again, those are lysosomes. The next structure, we're going to jump over and look at a plant cell real quick and look at one of the features of the plant cell. And the first one we're going to talk about is this central vacuole right here. Central vacuole is not found in animal cells. These are real large sac-like structures inside the middle of the plant cell. Animal cells have vacuoles. They're usually just for storage or shipping things around. They'll list a little membrane around something. They're a lot smaller in animal cells. There's not this big central vac. But they have a number of jobs that can be found here. They can be a disposal site for some metabolic waste. May contain some pigments which could color cells, maybe like a flower or something like that inside of in a plant. They can contain toxins sometimes, so you think about plants that are toxic, like poison ivy, and probably going to contain some toxins inside that central vacuole of those plant cells. And they'll also be a storage place for water. So a number of jobs for that central vacuole. Now there's vacuoles in other organisms. Contractile vacuoles found in paramecium, and there's a quick little video. Let's see if it plays. I'm not going to spend a lot of time. It's not one to play, so it's not that big a deal. But its job is to just pump water. Paramecium are single-celled organisms that live in fresh water, so they have a tendency to take on a lot of water, and that contractile vacuole will pump it out. So the next thing we want to talk about is the mitochondrion. It's singular, mitochondria is plural. One of my favorite organelles inside the cell. Of course, we all think of it as the powerhouse of the cell, the power plant of the cell, because that's where energy is made, and it's such a vital, such an important organelle for us. It's found in nearly all eukaryotic cells. An example that wouldn't have it would be a red blood cell. Red blood cells don't have to have energy because they move throughout the body in your bloodstream being pumped by your heart. So they don't have a need for that energy, and then just leaves more room for them to carry hemoglobin, which is going to carry oxygen. Again, the mitochondria is the site of cellular respiration, where we break food down in the presence of oxygen for energy, and we will talk way more about cellular respiration later on in the year. It's a very dynamic organelle. That means that it moves around. It's not static. It's not stuck in one place. It will move around throughout the cell. It also has a lot of highly folded membranes, especially inside it, and those membranes allow more surface area for all the reactions to take place. And you can see it in this picture here, all these folds within the inner membranes of that mitochondria. And we will learn a lot more about that later. Just wanted to kind of quickly introduce it to you here. The next thing, chloroplast. And chloroplasts, of course, we know chloroplasts are found in plant cells, not found in animal cells. Now, I do want to mention before I get into chloroplasts, if you look here, you'll see in this plant cell, notice here, they have a mitochondria. A lot of times we think chloroplast in plants, mitochondria in animals, photosynthesis plants, cellular respiration animals. But remember, plants do photosynthesis, but animals and plants will both do cellular respiration, so they will both have a mitochondria. So let's look at this chloroplast real quick. Of course, you know what its job is. It's first of all, it contains the green pigment chlorophyll. It's what makes plants green. Plants, we know that all the colors of the spectrum are in light: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. And they will, so whenever the light strikes the plant, all of those colors are absorbed and used in the process of photosynthesis, except one, which is green. And it reflects green, and that's why we see the green when we look at it, because it's reflecting that green pigment. But it plays a major role in absorbing that light energy and kind of driving this process of photosynthesis, which is the production of sugar for the plant. And we will again talk about that much more later as well. A little bit of the structure of a chloroplast. If you'll notice, it's made up of a couple of features. They have these thylakoid membranes, which kind of look like poker chips. And then we have a stack of these membranes, which we call the granum, or grana is plural. Inside here we have the stroma, which is kind of the aqueous space here, aqueous solution. Fluid-filled space is sometimes called inside of all that. So different parts of photosynthesis will take place in different parts of this chloroplast. And of course you have your inner membrane and your outer membrane. One thing I want to mention real quick too about both the chloroplast and the mitochondria, which is pretty cool, is they both actually have their own DNA. And they, which is kind of unique, which is separate from the DNA that's going to be found in your nucleus. So that's an important feature of both of those that you need to remember as well. And I believe that is a quick wrap-up of this. This video is a little bit shorter than the first one, so I hope it helps. And this will wrap up our short discussion over cells. So talk to you later. Bye.